Happy Friday, everybody. Mark DeReamer from Refurbished Gentleman, and today I wanted to go over just something that I just did on a piece and someone had a question about. And sometimes you overthink what people know and what people don't know, because there are a lot of people who are beginners at what they're doing and some people that are old wily veterans who've been doing it for years. And sometimes I forget that, especially when I have a page where it's really centered around sharing and teaching and all that kind of stuff. So with that being said, I had a very specific question about the gilding waxes and what the consistency of it was. So I decided just to go over it, show you some cans, show you how I do it, give you my little trick that I use to ensure it's going on the way I want it to. And then we're gonna talk a little wise owl, because I just got done watching the live about the fall colors, and I'm not gonna spill any beans because I usually get in trouble when I spill beans. So I'm not gonna tell you, but I'm just gonna say this, that it's very fall-esque in the color scheme that they have. So it's like perfect timing. I think y'all are gonna be amazed with the colors and the uniqueness of what they have for us coming. So yeah, I know, right? I better not spill the bean. I have a bad habit of that. That's probably why she doesn't get me anything early anymore, because I do that sometimes. Maddie's napping. For all those who are wondering where Maddie's at, hopefully she'll wake up, she'll come down here. But I wanted to do this now so I can go spend some time with her. We're gonna watch Dark Crystal. For all my partners out there that love their sci-fi fun stuff, it's a great one to watch with your kiddos, because it's very Jim Henson-esque and perfect for the younger crowd, although it has a little dark element to it, which you would expect, but it's pretty good. But anyways, more to the point, today we're going to talk about gilding waxes. I'm going to show you what I have, and if you didn't know, I'm part of the redesign team. And with that, I'm going to be showing a little bit more about what they have to offer beyond transfers. Because everybody knows they do transfers and molds probably. But you probably don't know is that they have some other really cool stuff that's mixed in and throughout, that if you're not an old wily veteran of furniture painting, you might not know to even use it for furniture. So we're going to show you some of redesign specific waxes, some Art Alchemy specific waxes, and just like I said, a really basic what they look like, what they feel like, how I apply them to include a brush. And I'm just going to walk through it right here right now, and then I'm just going to show you this bed that everybody had such amazing nice things to say, lots of really cool reactions to it. It's definitely on the feminine side, so it's not my normal type of finish. So it's stepping outside my comfort zone a little bit, using that transfer and using the gold that I used, or actually it's aged brass I use, but you guys seem to really like it, so I was pretty happy about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the camera down. I'm going to show you the waxes from redesign and just talk through, like I said, very, very basic, what they look like, what they feel like, how they get applied, my little trick that I use to ensure I get enough but not too much. And then I'm going to show you the piece and a little bit more of how it interacted with the Wise Owl products, both the color and then the top coat, because I know that's a question too. So I'm going to pull this guy down. Hopefully this works. Hey, Carrie. So here we go. Okay. So hopefully it's not too bright. There we go. Okay. So for those that are brand new, the wax usually come in tins or tubes, or sometimes in small glass containers. The Art Alchemy ones and the redesign ones come in these little tins like this. See? And then you just pop the top off, and it'll have usually it'll have this little sealer. And if you can try to keep it on there and don't throw it away. It just helps keeps the wax from drying out, because anytime you have a screw top, there is that chance that air is still going to get in there, because that's just what will happen a lot of times. That's why on a lot of paint cans you really don't want to have screw tops. You want to have the push down tops, because it keeps it from getting air to it. So if you can keep that on there, another little thing, right? So I leave mine in there. and it just looks like this. Now, you can do it a bunch of different ways. The main way I like to do it is with my finger. So what I'm gonna do is just stick my finger in here. I'm gonna show you the consistency of it. So it's kind of like, trying to think of, it's like a thick buttery kind of consistency. And if you mash it around a little bit, it'll get thinner and thinner the more you kind of mush it around, right? So, but it's just a paste, ultimately, at the end of the day. So it looks like that. So it's not really, really thin. It's not really, really thick. It's very, you know, like I can stick my finger in there and move it around. So for that person that did ask, I can't remember what her name was, but that's the consistency. And that's right across the board, for the most part, what most waxes are like. Although you'll get some that come in tubes, and unfortunately the tubed ones will a lot of times separate within the tube if it's under the wrong conditions of heat and cold, heat and cold, heat and cold, which sometimes separates the chemicals, which makes one part thicker and one part liquid, and it's a hot mess. That's why I do enjoy these tins quite a bit more, because they seem to, you know, keep their consistency throughout the can really, really well. So anyways, that's what it looks like. And all of them are the same. I'm gonna show you all the colors to give you an idea. This one is brushed iron. So, but I'll show you the colors, but first I just wanna show how I apply it. Now my trick, okay. So, always have shop towel handy. You get some out and you're gonna rub it off. This is gonna seem counterintuitive big time. You're gonna rub it off your finger, right? Get it on the shop towel. Just like that, okay? I'm gonna get a little bit more. I'm gonna do the same thing. And what I'm gonna do is build up a little spot on my shop towel where it's almost like that's where I'm pulling my wax from, because most of the time when you're using a gilding wax, you're trying to get a raised edge area, right? But if you dip your finger down in there and you get a big chunk, and then you try to take it across a raised edge area, you know, like this thing right here, you're gonna end up pushing the wax down into the cracks and crevices where you want it still to be dark or aged or whatever you did to get to this point. Usually the gilding wax is the very last thing. So let's say I put, you know, dark wax down in the cracks and crevices. I don't now want to get this brushed iron down in there. I just want it on the edge to show the highlights. That's what I'm looking for. So you don't want to get big chunks, gobs of gilding wax in your finger and then shove it down in there, because then you just defeated all that work you did, that you worked on all the way through that process, right? So I'm gonna set this down here. I'm just gonna show you my process. So I'll have my gilding wax. I got my finger. It's already pretty built up. And that's the thing, it's gonna build up on your finger within your fingerprint and kind of stay on that finger. So just keep using that same finger. Build a little, put a little on here, right? And then I never go can directly to my piece. I always wipe a little off, have it nice and even, and then I'm gonna go straight across the edge. Look at that. Nice and beautiful, right? Just like that. Let me see if I can get that really good for you guys. Just gonna lay it across the edge ever so gently, just like this. And you can see only the raised edge areas is getting the gilding wax. That's it. And again, I'm gonna dip my finger here, rub it here, get a nice flat, even layer across my finger, no big gobs, no big chunks. And I'm just laying my finger across the edges, oh so gently. And you'll find you can do it harder or less or more depending on the look you're going for. And this is just kind of like, I don't know, a piece I painted a long time ago and it had gold on it. So I'm just kind of going over to gold to show it as an example. Now look at how pretty that is, right? So you think about, okay, I painted this piece. It's got all these really cool raised edge areas. What can I do with it? And that's where these gilding waxes come into play. So like I painted this frame, I'm gonna use it as a staging item. And at the time I needed something gold. I had, the hardware was gold, that was a part of the piece, and then I needed something to stage. So I painted this frame, it was just some plastic thing from Walmart. and then painted it look all pretty, and then I added this gilding wax. And at the time, like I said, I was using gold. Today we're gonna do this brushed, make sure I said it right. Yeah, brushed iron, which is really like a silver with a little hint of black to it, is what it looks like to me, which is actually really pretty with this black. So that's method number one, and that's my biggest trick that I use, and the thing I've seen with a lot of people where they take it straight from the can and they jab it into the piece, and then once that wax gets down in there, it's a pain to get off. So you want to make sure, however you're doing it, that you really understand why, where it's going, and how it's getting there. Now, the other thing I did the other day was I had some more detailed areas on this bed. So I busted out one of my little acrylic brushes. And this is just doesn't have to be anything special. You know, I just have some acrylic brushes from, I think when I went to art college for a little while. For one whole semester, I decided to go to college after I retired from the military. And they gave me all these tools, and now I'm using them for painting furniture. So you're just gonna get a little bit on the brush. Same thing we did with my finger. Gonna get a little bit on the brush. Not gonna go directly to the piece. I'm gonna go back to my spot, and this spot is gonna have a great buildup by this point. And again, it's gonna seem counterintuitive, like I'm pulling it off, but you don't want a big globs of it on there. And I kind of explained how I did this in the post the other day, but it's hard to explain exactly how to do this. So, okay, now we got this nice even layer of wax all along the sides. So what I'm gonna do is, okay, let's figure out the best spot to do this. Right about here, I think. So you're gonna get it parallel to the piece as best as you can. So parallel meaning like, you know, this way. So it's going the same way as the piece, and you're never gonna jab into it, because again, you wanna on the raised edge areas, at least if that's what you're doing. I mean, if you wanna paint it down in there, you're more than welcome to do that as well. But for the purposes of what I'm trying to show, I'm just trying to get the raised edges, right? So I'm gonna take and get it parallel to the piece, and I'm gonna pull this way, like this. Pulling away, so it's just getting the flat areas. And this is just another little tool for you to be able to get into those more intricately detailed areas like I have on this bed. I'll show you here in a second, where my finger obviously is a rounded edge and not a thin flat edge, and it was hard for me to get into the areas that I wanted to. Just like that. And this is a little, you know, a little painstaking, I guess, if you want to call it that, but it's just the art of it. You know, you want to get it just so, you don't want to overdo it, you don't want to underdo it, and this is just a way to really get it exactly how you want it, and not, you know, just kind of go halfway with it. You're trying to go all the way. You spend all that time on that piece, all the way up to this last point, right at the very end, we're going to add gilding wax. You want to make sure that all that work was worth it, because at the end, you took the time to get the gilding wax on there just so. So again, just trying to keep it parallel as possible so you don't end up jabbing it down in there. You know, strokes where you're pulling away and never in, because that way you're not going to end up poking in. And you go from the can to your shop towel spot, so you have nice flat even amounts, and then going right back to your piece. Always pulling away and always across the edges that you're trying to get. Just like that. So that's another way you can do it. So I showed you a little bit of my finger technique and then the brush, but ultimately the little secret tip, well, I don't know if it's secret, but you know, my little tip that I use is never going directly from the can, always going can to the little shop towel spot and then to the piece. And that has worked so well, because the first few times when I had no idea what I was doing, I was going straight from the can and I kept getting big globs down into the cracks where I didn't want it, and it would make me so mad, especially after all that time I'd spent on the piece. So that's just a little bit of that. And again, I had somebody ask, and that's what I'd like to start doing is, you know, people have questions and things that come up I like to do a little live here and there, you know, those teaching moment kind of things that I can help and show people also some of these really cool products. So these are Art Alchemy, and I'm just gonna pop all these open and show you the different colors that they have. This is brushed iron, rich copper. Some of these are really pretty. I can imagine what colors schemes to do them with. Vintage gold. And when I'm all done, I'll take some questions if you guys want to. This is aged brass. This is the one I used on the bed. And I think I left the top liner on. I'm gonna make sure I find that before I put it away. Uh-oh, make sure you can see it. Aged brass. Bronze age. Ooh, that's cool. That's like a smoky brass color there on that one. And then, what was this one? This one's white gold. Okay, so that's the Art Alchemy ones. And then Redesign has just their specific ones. And I only have 3 of these colors currently. But there's one called Galaxy. And it's really this, I mean, it looks just like that. Like if you look up in the stars at night, the sky's like this purpley black blue thing with a little sparkle to it, right? That's kind of what that one is. And then Green Aurora, almost that same thing. Ooh, yeah, look at that green. It's really cool, right? Make sure can you see these? Scoot them this way a little bit. And then last but not least, this one is Amber Lights. And just a really bright golden orangey beautifulness. So I mean, just a amazing wide array of different colors that you can use, and it just depends on what you're painting and what colors you're using. And that's why I wanted to go to this bed and show you guys. Hey, so I'm gonna turn this guy this way. So here's the bed. Turned out really awesome. I'm super excited about it because, again, I don't do really super feminine stuff. So this is a little bit outside my comfort zone, but hearing a lot of what the nice things people had to say about it so far has eased any worries I had about doing it. So I've been very happy about that. So obviously I used Wiseau, and per your guys' request, with this specific transfer, which is the Rose Celebration one from Redesign, I used both colors because I was gonna do pink initially, and then you guys, I had a couple people that actually showed me pictures of stuff done in these colors that really was just like, oh my gosh, yes, don't do pink, let's do these colors. And then I started with the Icelandic mist, and I did a one color painted on wash, which basically means instead of it just being a wash, it was painted on with the spray, which you kind of saw on my time-lapse thing where I was playing around a little bit. And that ultimately gives it a layer of that color, the robin's egg, over the Icelandic mist, but still allows the Icelandic mist to come through and gives it a really brushed on, artfully done look to it, which I really enjoy. I enjoy the brushed look, especially knowing that I was going to do this transfer and distress the transfer. I wanted to make it look like more like a painting than, you know, like a photograph, because this is an older bed, and give it some age to the look of it. So it's the full coat of Icelandic mist, and then this brushed, washed layer robin's egg. And then to cap it all off, I did one more coat of the Icelandic mist, but in this case, I just dry brushed, which finished off that really cool, like painted, like I did a painted look, because it had all the brush strokes that were from the layers below popped out, because that dry brush of Icelandic mist is now hitting all those lines and brush strokes, and I hit it harder in some spots and less in other spots. And you can see across the edge of here, you know, in the cornered edge, there's a lot of the Icelandic mist. All my brush strokes from below are popping out, right? And it's really cool. And all along these really cool detailed areas, all was Icelandic mist. And then I sat back and I was like, you know what? this needs a little something extra. You know me, I gotta add some bling. So I went digging through all my redesigned gilding waxes that I have and decided to go with the aged brass because I really felt like it worked well with this brassy color that was within the transfer, which a lot of times if that's what you're doing, you want to kind of like find a way to match it up, because if I went silver, it wouldn't look right, because it wouldn't be like one cohesive kind of thing, I don't think anyway. So I went with the aged brass, and then I used that same technique. I started with the finger, laid it across, and it didn't quite hit the detailed areas because I had these little bald spots down in here that if I did with my finger, I'd also be getting all along these edges, which I wanted to leave with the Icelandic mist. I didn't want to have this aged brass everywhere, just in these really cool detailed spots. So I took my brush, did my whole steps that I showed at the beginning, and just gently, oh so gently, went in there and laid the aged brass across and down through there, just to make sure. And then, so it took a couple of coats to get it exactly how I wanted, but it's not, obviously I showed you, it's not that difficult of a process. It's just, you know, painstaking. You want to make sure after all the work that I did to get to that point that I don't mess up at the very end. So that's what I did. And ultimately, with the robin's egg and Icelandic mist from Wise Owl, paired with, you know, the peaches and pinks, that complementary colors within the transfer, and then adding just a little bit of bling, I think really turned out beautiful. So that's that. But I also wanted to talk about like what happens if I did screw up. Like how the heck do you get your gilding waxes off? So again, if you're brand new to gilding waxes or waxes in general, you can use mineral spirits and it'll basically pull it all the way off, like completely off. So I got that out just to kind of show you, this is what it looks like. Anyway, it's kind of brand new. I just get a big jug of this and you can just basically, actually let me just show you. I'll get a little towel and I'll put a little bit on my finger to get the wax off my finger. You're probably like, how the heck do you clean wax? So you take it and it just, see, cleans right off your finger. Too easy. And it'll do the same thing on this. So initially I got a little bit up and around the edge that I didn't want, so I got a little bit on a rag and I just wiped until it came off. So that's how I did that. Now, what the really cool part was, let me see, where is it? I used Wise Owl's matte varnish to mimic a waxed look, which this varnish does really, 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 really well because it's a very beautiful matte finish. I mean, you would think just looking at this that it was wax, but this is actually the matte varnish. And what was even better is that the gilding waxes over the varnish obviously worked really, really, really well. Like stuck to it perfectly. Like this is the next day. Oh, I got some on my ring. Be careful with your rings because that one's rubber. That's going to pull a little bit off. But for the most part, a day later, this is not coming off. And then as it cures, just like most waxes, it's going to cure and harden and stay there forever, pretty much. Unless you got a rubber Kalo ring like I do, and just yanked a bunch off. So, but that was what was cool, is a lot of, you know, if you're starting out, you might think, well, do I have to wax and then wax over top of it? No, you could use varnish, just like I got here for Wise Owl, and then wax over top. The only thing I would say is a lot of times if you were to use like a highly reflective varnish, like let's say there's satin, it might not match as far as the final. So I usually go with the matte anytime I'm trying to get a waxed look to it. So, but that's what I got. And like I said, I really appreciated all the nice comments and reactions and stuff people had from the bed, because that is definitely on the feminine side and definitely not the norm for me. But when I had the bed, that's a bed that I carried with me all the way from Florida. And then I just got a whole order of redesign transfers in. I was like, oh my gosh, this design, this Rose Celebration transfer would look amazing on this bed. But I was like, okay, this is very feminine though. Like, what am I gonna do? And that's why I asked for you guys for a little bit of help on what colors to use, how I should use them, because it's not always just like, oh, I know exactly what I'm gonna do. It's never really like that. It's always, the hardest part is making the decision on what to do. And sometimes you just get inspiration from other people, and that's exactly what happened. People dropped pictures in there and said, hey, I don't think you should go pink. You should go more of the complementary color on the color wheel, go the opposite direction instead of going, you know, right there with the same colors within. And I think it worked out really great. So I'm excited about it. It's another I'm going to donate to the ministry I'm involved with up in Edwardsville. So if you're local watching this, this is not going up there tomorrow because it took me too long to finish it up. And last Saturday we were closed up there, so we have a full shop, like full. So if you haven't you know, made up your way up there or haven't been up there at all, this week is going to be a great week because there's going to be a lot of stuff. And then I will have this bed, and then the other dresser I've been working on will be up there next Saturday for those that were wondering about that. But I just wanted to hop on and kind of respond to the question about the gilding waxes. So that's basically what this video is about. So if you just hopped on, I'm gonna post it and it'll kind of go through what gilding waxes are, the consistency, because that was a question I had, and how I apply them with my little trick that helps ensure it gets where you want and not where you don't. And then just kind of walk through, you know, how it went with the color combo with the Wiseau colors, how it went over the Wiseau varnish, which worked really, really well. I was very happy about. And, you know, see if anybody had any questions. So, but after that, I'm gonna go do some family time with the kiddo. So I'm gonna flip through here real quick, see if there's any questions. I saw we had a good 30 or so people on a Friday night, which is pretty cool. So let me see if anybody had any questions. If you do, just drop them in there. What brush? What do you use to clean up your brush after gilding? Oh, okay. So, yep, I actually have a little cup in my sink that always has mineral spirits in it. And I just drop my little brush down in there, let it, you know, soak and brush off the wax, and then run it under hot water. I rarely ever use soap on any of my brushes because I use Klingon like 95% of the time, and you don't even need anything. I just rinse them off with hot water. And then with these, it's pretty much the same thing. You obviously need something other than water to get the wax off. So mineral spirits, then hot water, and then let them dry, and that's it. Too easy. The mineral spirits is the key to have around if you're doing any kind of waxing, because it'll just take that wax right away. Too easy. Okay. Any other questions before I hop off here and go watch Dark Crystal with Maddie? She's up taking a nap. She's had a long week, she said. She's physical therapy and like getting up early for drama and choir and all different kind of fun stuff that she's having to do this week. Man, the silver is really showing in this lighting. I need like a filter it out. Anyways, any questions at all about gilding waxes, about anything in general? If not, I'm gonna hop off here, but I just have to say, I just got done watching a video from Karen and Aaron at Wiseau, and there's gonna be some really amazing fall colors coming. And if you didn't know, Wiseau does seasonal colors, so every season they'll have a new set of colors that may or may not stay. It just depends on how, you know, we respond to what they have that comes out. So just tell her when you got gilding wax in your beard. Yeah, that's it. I was doing this after I was playing with the silver, and that's how I got this way. I like that. That's a good one. So yeah, so there's gonna be lots. I'm not sure exactly how many colors. I'm trying to remember if it was 7 or 9. If anybody else is a Wiseau person on here that can remind me which ones it was, but there's fall colors coming really soon. And then the last and final thing, I know it's been a long time since I've done a giveaway, and I apologize for that. We got in the house, got settled, did a couple things, and then I decided to redo this whole area, doing floors and all that kind of stuff. Now I'm fully back up and running. I plan on doing more lives, more teaching moments of things that people ask questions about. As they ask questions about them, speak on a little bit more of the toys and things that I find and share, just like I was doing when we were in Florida, a little bit more. And with that being said, I'd really like to do a giveaway. And you know what's coming up? Fall colors from Wise Owl, and it just so happens to coincide with the 2-year anniversary, because I'm kind of sentimental guy, of when Karen found me on Instagram, which is a whole story. But the long and the short to that is she found me on Instagram, hit me up, and we've been, collabing or whatever you want to call it ever since. And if you've been following along, I finally got to meet them this summer, and they're just as amazing in person as they are, as you'll see on their page or with anything that they do with their business. And it's been an amazing ride for the last 2 years. So I definitely wanted to do another giveaway and have it be Wise Owl. Let's see, my lighting's all jacked up. Wise Owl, and it just so happens to fall in line with the Wise Owl fall release. So hopefully I can do some kind of giveaway. I still got to talk to Karen and make sure what exactly we're gonna do, but maybe we can have it coincide with when the fall colors come out and allow you guys to pick, one of the colors, a couple of the colors, or whatever we decide to do. But it's just time. I wanted to do a giveaway. I was trying to think of the best way to do it, and I just realized, it's like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be 2 years that we've been working together, and fall colors coming out. It's just perfect timing. So that's gonna be the plan. So be on the lookout for a big old giveaway. Probably happen in the beginning of October, because I'm pretty sure that's when the new colors are coming out. And we'll go from there. So I'll post something. It's gonna be the usual, deal. We're gonna have, sharing is caring moments, where we go and like and share and do all that kind of things with the post to help, share both my page and Wise Owl's page and whoever else I end up getting as sponsors for a giveaway. I want it to be another big one, because it's been a while. I think I did one at 10,000 followers, or a couple thousand later at this point, and try to be more consistent with that. And then hopefully get some local folks and get a local prize as well, because I do a lot of artist stuff, but I really would like to get some local followers as well, because I'm really hoping to start teaching classes. And forward thinking, that's something I want to get going, and I think that would be something fun, where maybe I can give away a free class, or something along those lines. So anyways, hopefully I'm going to repost this. Hopefully I answered questions for those that had some about gilding waxes. If there is any other questions that you have, please don't hesitate to shoot me a private message, or just drop it here on this post that I'm going to save here in a minute. Again, this was just to kind of, hit on a point that someone had a question about. Call these teaching moments, call them whatever you like, but I'm definitely going to try to do more of these where I see a question pop up that I think I can help. So that's that. So I'm going to go watch some Dark Crystal with Maddie. I think I heard her little pitter-pattering feet up there, and spend some family time this weekend. So hopefully everybody has a truly blessed weekend, has fun, doing whatever it is you're going to do, and as always, happy painting.